Right, well what I'm up to here is fitting the new dogleg to the right hand rear fender. What I like to do in these situations is mount the fender to approximately or exactly where it should go, and then clamp everything in place so that you get a nice accurate fit, particularly with the door gaps. Now in this situation here we've got a reasonable gap there. It looks quite wide, but it's about 3/16 of an inch. And in the scheme of things, it's not too bad. I don't have any shims in the door hinges as yet. You could put a millimetre or two in there and bring that gap closer, or alternatively move the rear fender forward a tad on the elongated holes which are there for that purpose. The fender is actually right up hard against the elongated holes now, so to move it forward I'd have to make those holes a little bit bigger, and you know that's always an option. You don't see that part of it, but you certainly see the door gaps. Mounted the door there, roughly where it should go, and we've got a pretty reasonable gap right along the bottom of the door. All that stuff is just sitting there. It's not screwed in or welded in or anything at this point in time. So the big issue in getting all of that right was primarily the location of the A-pillar. I've put new A-pillars on both sides of this car, and whilst I took measurements as to where they were located, originally I found that they weren't quite correct, in so much as they were a little bit out on the spirit level vertically, and if they're not vertically correct, then the door can't swing the way it should. So I've corrected that, and we've got that screwed in place with a couple of Tech screws, and I find there that, like you can see, the gaps there are quite good. The critical one over the top here is quite good. I haven't got that fender bolted down there yet, so but that pulls up into place quite okay. So all in all, I think we've got that A-pillar located okay. We've got the rear fender located pretty much where it should be, albeit it could come a little bit further forward, and consequently we've got quite reasonable door gaps. I haven't welded the dog leg in yet. I've just put a couple of little tacks with the MIG from in behind. Got a nice join there, so I'll just run the AUSSIE along there and butt weld that up, and that'll be nice and neat, but we'll show you that later on. Well, after a lot of pushing and pulling and toing and froing, looks like I'm going to get a result here after all. That's that front door gap on the right hand side. It's between an 1/8 and 3/16 of an inch most of the way down, and considering I've actually made that panel, it's all quite good. It's a little bit wider at the bottom there at the moment, but I think that'll work out okay once the bottom bolt's in on the inside there. And at the back, similar door gap. It's sitting out there a little bit, but that'll go in and it'll be all level. It's all just sitting there. Dog leg tacked in. So I reckon I'll be in a position where I can join this side together with the sills. So yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge. But then again, when I read everything that's been written about these things, it was a bit of a challenge in the factory as well, from what I can gather, with parts not being the same size and hinges being different. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with all that now, and we'll have to see how we go on the other side.